Alright guys, this past weekend we got the announcement we were all waiting for, UFC 300 main event. Alright guys, you guys already know it. Alex Pereira is going to be facing Jamahal, and a very unexpected matchup, right? I mean, look, we knew this matchup was coming, don't get me wrong, but I had thought maybe it would happen on that May 4th card in Brazil. I thought that made sense, and it also seems unexpected because as we saw, Jamahal got injured badly in July, right? I mean, he tore his Achilles. That normally takes sometimes even up to a year to heal. Yes, help from the PI, and I'm sure really good doctors, but is this too fast of a turnaround? Did he just accept this for the bag? We're gonna get into all that and more, but first I want you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're almost at 12,000 subscribers. If you guys could just help me out, we're almost there. All you guys do is hit the subscribe button. You guys will be part of it, and like I always say, make sure to click the description or go on the screen to join the Discord. I mean, we're always having fun conversations there, as well as sneak peek to upcoming videos, so go click that and we could all chat. Anywho though, I also want to talk about UFC 300 because I made a video a couple weeks ago talking about some of the hate of UFC 300, defending UFC 300, and I'm going to be saying something that might not get me views, that might not be the clickbait title, but UFC 300 so far is actually really good, and a lot of my opinions have changed. Why is this? Well, if you guys watched my original video, I had claimed that a lot of the people hating on UFC 300 were being unreasonable, and I had said, look, UFC 300 is a solid card, even with any main event. Now, I feel like a lot has changed since then, right? Because I do disagree with that statement. Since then, Dana White has come on podcast after podcast claiming that this main event is going to blow us away, claiming that there could be a documentary about this main event.
Fascinating. What would make you change there could actually be a documentary right now being shot,
of course,
behind the scenes to build UFC 300. It's fucking crazy.
So I think when you're making claims like that, I actually have to revoke my statement and say now it's the UFC's fault, because now I was getting hyped. Now I was like, yo, what is this main event? I mean, and then we heard the four, main events that they were choosing from. I'd say the most exciting was Leon and Hamzat, but could Hamzat even make weight? So I just had a problem with that matchup. So I thought all those matchups were a little bit annoying, and I figured we'd wind up with Leon and Bilal. I'm more excited for this matchup, and this matchup I think everybody accepts is a great main event, don't get me wrong. But UFC 300 main event worthy? I would say even yes, but I just think the hype that Dana White brought to this, I think clearly this was just some sort of made up hype. Like, I'm not even sure if he really had a super fight. I mean, we heard that the fight was going to be on McGregor-Rousey type of level, but obviously this isn't. This is a fight that we were going to get, whether it was 301, 302, 303, we were always going to get this fight as a main event. So it just feels like that this wasn't shocking. A lot of fans wanted that shock, including myself. I wanted to be like, holy shit, Khabib's coming back. Like, we wanted something crazy that would blow our minds. We clearly did not get that, all right? And look, does that mean UFC 300 is a bad card? That is a separate conversation. I would say that the UFC overhyped this card to now where fans are disappointed, and they're ignoring the card, because right now we're going to take a look at this card. All right, as you can see, UFC 300 main event. Look, they're trying to get me to this, they're trying to convince me to go to New Jersey. As you guys know, I'm from New York. Should I go to this card? I don't think I'm gonna go to that card. I mean, that's a lot of money, to be honest. Too much money for that. I'll go to the pay-per-view, but not for that. But all right, as we can see, the main event, obviously Pereira, Jamahal. That is a fun fight, a fight that I've been excited for, don't get me wrong. I mean, then we look at some of the other fights, right? This is so far the co-main event, Wei Lee versus Yan. Good fight, UFC 300 worthy. I didn't think so. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, an amazing fight. Arguably could be the main event. Oliveira, Sarukian, great fight. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic is a good fight as well. Very great fight. I feel like that would go on any pay-per-view card, though. I don't think this is anything necessarily special. Not trying to complain, don't get me wrong, but then we got Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. It looks like that this card is going to have 7 fights on the main card, on the pay-per-view at least, which is interesting, a little bit more than usual. We also got Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison, a fight that I was really excited for, that I know a lot of people did not like. I thought this was a very interesting matchup, and a matchup I'm going to be looking forward to seeing. We got Figueiredo Garbrandt. That's supposed to open up UFC 300. Probably shouldn't. I think they're just, kind of putting them as the opener so they could say that they're the opener. Jim Miller, Bobby Green. That's a great fight as well. Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage. Good fight too. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Bo Nickel is, I guess, a little bit hyped. Sadiq Youssef and Diego Lopez is another fight I'm super excited for. If you guys remember, actually, Sadiq Youssef was the first video on this channel, right? I actually interviewed Sadiq Youssef. This was long ago when the channel was supposed to be more of an interview style, so that's just a little fun fact. And Diego Lopez obviously has been delivering fight after fight after fight. He made Movsar Evolov's fight look like Justin Gaethje's fights. But in all seriousness, and then to cap it off, Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez, which is a fight that I thought got way too much hate. Still a fun fight, but I get it. I guess I get some disappointment there. All in all, I can say to you guys, I think that there was some wrong things that I said in the video, and I think that the comments, disagreeing with me had some good points. I think that at the end of the day, this card is good. You cannot argue that this card is bad. There's a lot of people out there that actually do say that this card is bad. It is not. The card is really good. This is probably one of the best cards we have ever seen, don't get me wrong, but the main event, it's like when you're hyping up a main event like that, it's just disappointing. But I want to spend the rest of the video talking about the main event, why I'm a little bit worried. Look, Alex Pereira has obviously been on a roll. This guy has been active. I mean, by the time April rolls around, I mean, he's pretty much fought 4 times in the span of 365 days. I think he's a couple days short of that, but outside of that loss, he's on a 2-fight win streak. I mean, he's the light heavyweight champion. Has looked very good. He's very durable in his fights, and Jamahal really does have a lot of power, so I think it's going to be interesting. Can he eat the power of Jamahal Hill. And I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a striking matchup. Could Jamahal Hill or even Alex Pereira mix in some takedowns? I think it would be smart. I always say, look, if it's a striker and striker matchup, I always think it's smart for at least one of them to mix up some takedowns just because it adds another layer. Alex Pereira is a world-class kickboxer. I think it would be really important for Jamahal Hill to add some takedowns, just, you know, pause Pereira a little bit, make him think, because no matter what, adding the takedowns, I feel, will always make you a worse striker because you're always just, you know, anticipating that takedown, and now you're like, okay, I have to worry. But Alex Pereira isn't exactly the shooting type. I mean, he did shoot a takedown on Israel Adesanya in their first fight, so it's not exactly out there. And my point is look, yeah, Jamahal Hill, I mean, he kind of got gifted that title shot against Glover Teixeira, and obviously, look, he had to vacate that title in July due to a crazy injury that was supposed to have him out a long time. And I have to say, if he would have kept his bout from July to now, it really wouldn't have been that long of a layoff, right? It would have been about, you know, 9 months or so. We've seen longer layoffs. I mean, Islam Makhachev, I mean, he is a guy that also doesn't really fight that often, which tells me that the recovery for the injury was supposed to take place a lot longer. So why is it cut short? Well, it could be for one of two reasons. It could be because Jamahal Hill is just a medical phenomena that's able to just, you know, recover from this with the help of the UFC PI. But I think most people agree that is not the case. I'm worried for Jamahal Hill, and I would not be surprised to see if Jamahal Hill does pull out, because think about it like this. I mean, a training camp is so intense, and I mean, we are now less than 2 months away, and he got the call on Friday. Jamahal Hill, and I'm not trying to diss Jamahal Hill, all right? I get it. Look, I'm not exactly the guy in the best shape. I'm not one to be talking, but he didn't look like he was in his best shape. And I'm not, you know, like I said, I don't mean to talk shit about Jamahal Hill, but it just isn't. We've seen him in better shape, but like I've said, I guess he wasn't really in the best shape against Glover Teixeira either. He took that fight on short notice, but seriously, jump right back into a training camp that's a little bit shorter than normal with an injury like that I'm sure he hasn't fully recovered from. I'm sure he is not 100% on that. It's worrying, and I can see a scenario where he gets injured and then we're all raging because Magomed Ankalaev is now the replacement. God, I hope that does not happen. But I think it's possible for Jamahal Hill to win. Like I said, he has power. We've seen the guy knocked out Alex Pereira, right? He got knocked out by Adesanya, who isn't exactly the biggest power puncher, but I do think that weight cut had a lot to attribute to that. Now this is light heavyweight. He's not cutting as much weight. He's building his frame. He's a lot bigger. Every light heavyweight fight, I think this is going to be the best light heavyweight Alex we've seen. And to be fair, he's the guy that has been teasing UFC 300. He's the guy that has been saying, look, I am ready for UFC 300. So we could have been training for 300, or more likely, he could have been training for that UFC 301 card. Maybe he was expecting some news about that. But my point is, I think that Alex Pereira is most likely more in shape than Jamahal Hill right now. I think most people could agree on that, because Jamahal Hill, I'm not dissing, because yes, he came off of an injury. I don't blame him for letting go a little. I don't expect him to keep a chiseled six-pack all year long. Not that he has that anyway, but look, I'm just saying the fight's very interesting, and I just think that this was all in all a thrown together UFC 300 main event, and I think that's overall what I'm trying to say by all of this. We have a guy that's not 100% going into this fight, that I think anybody who actually thinks about this knows that. We could all act and be like, yeah, maybe Jamahal did recover fast. Most likely he didn't. And Jamal's already said things like, oh, he was offered a bag. Like, I'm already anticipating, you know, Alex Pereira winning and then Jamahal Hill being like, well, I was offered a bag, that's why I took the fight. Kind of like Volkanovski, what he did with Islam. And overall, like I said, I'm just worried about that. I don't know. We could see what happens. I mean, who knows? Maybe Jamahal Hill will pull off the upset. At the end of the day, he has power, which can beat a lot of the skill. But if I were to go with an overall prediction right now, I'm going with Alex Pereira just based on the injury stuff. But even without that, I mean, Alex Pereira is just so good. I mean, he's been on a roll. Jamahal Hill has had now over a year layoff, and I think they should have pushed this till May just to give Jamahal Hill a little bit more of an opportunity to recover. But they needed a 300 main event. I think at this point they should have just went with Leon and Bilal and called it a day. I think that fight is whack, don't get me wrong, but that's the best option. I heard they didn't even offer Bilal, which is insane. But I'm excited for the upcoming UFC cards. I'm concerned for UFC 301 because what is going to be that main event? Pantoja versus who? I mean, who even knows who's the next contender, to be honest? But guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure to check out my video I released yesterday reacting to UFC 298, reacting to Ilia Topuria becoming such a massive star, and also react to my video talking about Conor McGregor versus the UFC and that whole situation. Make sure to check out my Discord, guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.